Welcome to A One Story Teller, the channel where real-life stories come alive with suspense, emotion, and justice. Today we bring you an incredible tale that will leave you speechless. It's a story of arrogance, cruelty, and ultimate payback that proves karma never misses its mark. Buckle up as we dive into this jaw-dropping event that unfolded on a quiet street, an event that changed lives forever. Title: Biker kicks a blind pregnant woman and guide dog not knowing it was a former canine, the life of Emily Dawson. Emily Dawson had always been a fighter. Born with a degenerative eye condition, she had gradually lost her sight, but she never let that hold her back. She had learned to navigate life with determination, intelligence, and the unwavering companionship of her guide dog Max. Her husband Daniel was a firefighter, often away on duty, but he knew Emily could take care of herself. As a child, Emily's love for art had been her solace. Her parents encouraged her creativity, and she spent hours painting breathtaking landscapes, capturing the world through the eyes of her imagination. But as her vision deteriorated, so did her ability to bring those images to life on canvas. Losing her sight was devastating, yet she refused to let it define her. Instead of retreating into darkness, she found new ways to express herself through storytelling, music, and advocacy for people with disabilities. Determined to live a life of independence, Emily learned Braille and mastered mobility training. She memorized the streets of her neighborhood, counting steps, feeling textures beneath her feet, and relying on audio cues to navigate the world. But it wasn't until Max entered her life that she felt truly free again. Max was more than just a guide dog. He was her lifeline. From the moment they were paired, there was an unspoken bond between them. His gentle nudges reassured her when she felt uncertain, his steady pace keeping her balanced as she walked. What Emily didn't know, however, was that Max had a past that would soon prove to be life-changing. At 6 months pregnant, Emily's days were filled with a mix of excitement and nerves. She often imagined what her child would look like, how their laugh would sound, and how she would navigate motherhood as a blind woman. But she was determined to give her baby the best life possible. She had faced countless challenges before, and she was ready to embrace this new journey. However, life had a way of testing people in unexpected ways, and on one fateful day, Emily would come face to face with cruelty in its ugliest form. But what no one, not even she, could have predicted was that her loyal companion, her gentle, loving Max, was about to reveal a side of himself that no one had ever seen before. Jake Mercer. The menace of the town, Jake Mercer had spent most of his life causing trouble. He had been in and out of juvenile detention as a teenager, always looking for the next thrill, always pushing boundaries. Now in his late 20s, he had a reputation for being a reckless biker, often speeding through town without a care for anyone else. The town had tried to rein him in multiple times, fines, warnings, even brief stints in jail, but nothing stuck. He believed he was untouchable. The roads were his playground, and he treated pedestrians as mere obstacles. On the day in question, he was in an especially foul mood. A deal with a fellow biker gang had gone south, and he was fuming. As he revved his motorcycle down the suburban streets, he looked for someone to take his anger out on. The fateful encounter: Emily was walking her usual route to the local cafe, where she often met friends for afternoon tea. She trusted Max completely, holding onto his harness as he guided her along the familiar sidewalks. She felt the warmth of the sun on her face and smiled, taking in the fresh air, unaware of the danger fast approaching. Jake spotted her from a distance and grinned cruelly. A blind woman, easy target. His twisted sense of humor told him it would be funny to scare her a little. He revved his engine and sped toward her, weaving dangerously close. "Move it, lady! Get your stupid dog out of my way!" Emily barely had time to react before she felt the rush of air from his bike speeding past her. Max tensed, sensing the danger, but before he could act, Jake swung his boot out, striking Max hard in the ribs. The impact sent Max skidding across the pavement, yelping in pain. Emily gasped, feeling the sudden absence of her dog beside her. Panic set in as she reached out, but before she could even take a step, Jake shoved her backward. She stumbled, barely managing to catch herself before hitting the ground. The world around them fell into stunned silence. Bystanders froze, some pulling out their phones to record the shocking act. Jake laughed. Maybe you shouldn't be out here if you can't see where you're going." The awakening of a protector. What Jake didn't realize was that Max wasn't just a guide dog. He was a retired police canine, trained to take down criminals. And in that moment, his instincts took over. Max, despite the pain from the brutal kick, got to his feet. His vision locked onto Jake, his muscles tensing. He was no longer just a guide, he was a protector, and his handler had just been attacked. In a split second, Max launched himself forward. Jake barely had time to react before Max clamped his powerful jaws around his leg. A piercing scream erupted from Jake's throat as he fell backward, his motorcycle crashing to the ground beside him. The crowd gasped. Some cheered, others stood frozen, unsure of what to do. Jake thrashed, trying to free himself, but Max held firm, his grip unrelenting. His training had taught him how to neutralize a threat, and that's exactly what he was doing. Justice arrives. The arrest of Jake Mercer. Sirens blared in the distance, growing louder by the second. A police car screeched to a halt, and two officers jumped out, weapons drawn. One of them, Officer Reynolds, immediately recognized the dog standing protectively in front of Emily. "Max?" His voice held disbelief and admiration. "No way! That's Sergeant Max." Emily, shaken but composed, turned toward the sound of the officer's voice. "You know my dog?" she asked, gripping his harness tightly. Officer Reynolds nodded, stepping closer. "This dog isn't just any guide dog. He was one of the best K9s in our force before he retired. This dog has taken down some of the most dangerous criminals we've ever seen." Jake, now pale and sweating from pain, whimpered, "Get this thing off me!" "Max, release!" Reynolds commanded. Max obeyed instantly, stepping back but still keeping his piercing gaze locked onto Jake, ready to attack if needed. The second officer, Officer Martinez, pulled Jake up roughly and slapped cuffs on his wrists. "Jake Mercer, you're under arrest for assault, animal cruelty, and endangering a pregnant woman." Jake groaned in protest, but Officer Martinez cut him off. "Save it. We've got it all on camera, thanks to these bystanders." He gestured toward the crowd, many of whom had their phones still recording. As Jake was dragged toward the police car, the gathered spectators erupted into applause. Cheers and whistles filled the air as justice was served. Emily exhaled shakily, kneeling beside Max, running her hands over his fur. "You're my hero, Max," she whispered, her voice full of gratitude and love. Officer Reynolds crouched beside her. "You've got one heck of a protector here, ma'am. He saved your life today." Emily smiled, tears forming in her eyes. "He always has.